The day Adiz saw her own face on a billboard in Lekki, she cried so hard the driver thought someone had died. Just 3 years before, she had been standing under the Ojota pedestrian bridge, sweat sticking to her back, clutching a crumpled 5,000 Nigerian nairas note like it was her last breath. Because it was. Lagos was already loud that morning, horns screaming, danfo conductors hanging from doors, hawkers fighting over change, the smell of exhaust and roasted corn mixing in the air. Adiz stood still in the middle of all that noise, fear pressing heavily against her ribs. She had 5,000 Nigerian nairas left from 3 months of job hunting. No job, no savings, no backup family money. Only a cracked phone, a tired body, and a stubborn mind that refused to bow. The wig, shining from a roadside hanger, caught her eye. It wasn't special at first glance, just a black, synthetic bob on a faceless mannequin head. But when the seller shook it slightly, it glimmered like fresh oil under the sun. It looked like the kind of hair girls on Instagram wore when they posted soft life only under their pictures. Adiz touched her own hair, dry, under-relaxed, tucked into a tired scarf. She remembered the interviews she had attended. How the receptionist glanced at her worn shoes and plain hair. How the HR woman smiled politely, then never called. How Lagos, with all its bright lights, kept closing its doors in her face. Her friend Kemi's words echoed in her mind. In this Lagos, packaging is currency. Adiz knew it was true. People didn't just listen to you, they first looked at you. She stared at the wig. The price was 5,000 Nigerian nairas. Her last card. In her pocket, her stomach growled quietly. Food or packaging? Her heart picked the wig before her brain could protest. She bargained, her voice almost shaking, but the seller refused to move much. Finally, she handed over all her money and walked away with a nylon bag that felt like a bad decision and a secret weapon at the same time. Back at her one room in Cade, she washed the wig carefully in a plastic bowl, fingers gentle as if she was handling gold. She blew it dry with a fan, shaping it with her hands until it sat perfectly. When she wore it and faced the mirror, she almost didn't recognize herself. The girl staring back looked sharp, brave, like someone Lagos might finally listen to. That week, Adiz attended 2 more interviews. Same CV, same experience, one new wig. The difference was instant. People looked twice. The receptionist smiled longer. The HR woman's tone softened. Still, no job. But something else started happening. On the bus, girls stared at the wig with quiet admiration. In church, one of the choir girls approached her after service. "Your hair is fine," she said softly. "Where did you do it?" Adiz felt something shift in her chest. She smiled lightly. "It's a wig," she said. "I bought it and styled it myself." That night, as Nipa seized light and the small neighborhood generator chorus began humming, Adiz lay on her foam mattress, eyes wide open. The question came like a whisper. What if this wig is more than just hair? She thought about how people looked at her differently now. How Lagos responded to the illusion of having it together. She'd seen girls borrow clothes, shoes, wigs, just to snap pictures or attend events. Appearance had its own black market here. Slowly, an idea formed. It scared her. It also refused to let her sleep. By 3 a.m., she sat up, sweating slightly in the heat, staring at the wig hanging by the window. One wig. No money. No job. No safety net. But Lagos respected movement. People who tried. People who created something from nothing. Her heart raced with a crazy, desperate thought. What if I start renting it out? The idea sounded ridiculous, then brilliant, then terrifying. Still, Lagos didn't reward the careful. It rewarded the bold and the slightly mad. By morning, her mind was made up. This wig would not only change how she looked. It would change how she lived. Adiz launched her business from a plastic chair in front of her compound. There was no banner, no logo, no website. Just one wig, her cracked Android phone, and courage sharpened by hunger. She took pictures of herself wearing the wig from different angles and posted them on WhatsApp status. Affordable wig rental, look good for events, interviews, dates. Pay small, slay big. Dim me. She watched the view count rise slowly. Old secondary school classmates, church members, some random numbers. No messages. Just silent eyes. Doubt crept in like cold air. But Lagos has a way of rewarding those who refuse to log out. On the second day, a message came. Then another. A girl from church had a birthday shoot and couldn't afford a new wig. Another had a job interview and didn't want to look broke. A third had a wedding to attend and was tired of tying gelly. Adiz created simple rules. Wig rental per day, pick-up and drop-off times, small caution fee. She cleaned the wig carefully after each use, washed and air-dried it, brushed it until it shone again. She treated that cheap synthetic hair like it was a human hair investment. The wig started working overtime. By the end of the first month, that one wig had touched at least 12 different heads. Quietly, her pocket changed. What used to be transport and vibes, money became something she could actually plan with. She used a small notebook to track every rental. Date, name, contact, amount paid. She noticed patterns. People needed hair most on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and before big holidays. That told her something. Demand was not the problem in Lagos. Supply and structure were. While she still applied for jobs, she realized her thinking was changing. Instead of only asking, "Who will employ me?" she now asked, "What do people need that they don't realize they can pay me for?" With the next round of savings, she returned to Ojota. This time she was not trembling. She bought 2 more wigs. Slightly different styles, slightly better quality. Her hands shook as she transferred the money, but not from fear anymore, from the weight of what she was quietly building. Soon she had a tiny catalog. 3 wigs, 3 different personalities. 1 for office babe, 1 for soft life slay, 1 for church decent but fine. She renamed her WhatsApp status. Wig library, borrow your next look. Word spread. Her neighbors began to notice that different girls kept coming to her door. Some rolled their eyes. Others whispered. Her old friend, Chioma, visited one hot afternoon, looked at the wig stand in the corner of the room and laughed. "So, you've turned to wig landlord now?" she smirked. From mass communication graduate to hair caretaker. Lagos has humbled you. Oh. The word stabbed, but Adiz swallowed the hurt. She didn't argue. Lagos had taught her one thing. Never explain vision to people who only understand salary. Instead, she focused. With every rental, she added a small extra. A simple hair net, a polite reminder message, a short style tip. Her service felt personal. People trusted her. They referred friends. Then, something shifted again. One of her renters posted her birthday photos on Instagram, tagged a makeup artist, a photographer, an event decorator, but also wrote in her caption, "Hair by at Wig Librarying, best wig plug in Lagos." Except, at Wig Librarying didn't exist yet. Adiz saw the tag and froze. The world was calling her by a name she hadn't even claimed. She created the Instagram page immediately, shaking with a mix of fear and excitement. She uploaded before and after photos, with permission, anonymous stories of girls who rented wigs for interviews and got callbacks, for dates that turned into relationships, for weddings they wanted to pepper their ex at. She didn't just post hair. She posted transformation. Possibility. Lagos girls loved it. But growth came with pressure. More bookings. More requests. Then the cracks began. Once, a renter returned a wig tangled and burnt from careless curling. Another time, someone delayed returning a wig, causing chaos for the next client. Sometimes people begged for discounts so aggressively her profit almost disappeared. On top of that, the cost of buying new wigs rose with the dollar. Suppliers were unreliable. Instagram was filled with bigger brands with glossy photos and celebrity influencers. Adiz sat one night, lights off, only her phone screen glowing, calculating her profits. It was not much. For all the energy, all the running around, she still could not confidently say she had blown. Her chest tightened with an old fear. Maybe this is just a side hustle. Maybe I am thinking too big. Then one message arrived that changed everything. A lady from a small makeup studio in Surulere messaged her, "Hi, I run a bridal makeup business. Your wig rental idea is brilliant. Can we partner? I do makeup, you handle wigs. Package deals for brides and bridesmaids. Shared profits. Partnership. That one word opened a door in her mind. She realized she didn't have to walk Lagos alone. She slowly built a network: photographers, makeup artists, stylists, event planners. Each one someone who needed their clients to look like money without necessarily having money. Instead of just renting wigs, she began to create looks. She raised her prices carefully, layer by layer, adding value each time. Consultation. Basic styling. Custom fitting. Delivery. The girl who once clutched her last 5,000 Nigerian nairas at Ojota was quietly becoming a brand. But Lagos doesn't allow smooth success stories without a test. The real twist was still coming. And it would arrive with a familiar name in her inbox. 3 years after that first Ojota wig, the girl who used to sit on a plastic chair now walked through a glass door with her logo on it. Wig Library Beauty Studio glowed softly in cursive gold above a Lekki Phase 1 shop front. Inside, everything was white, nude, and gold. Ring lights shimmered. Wig stands lined the walls like crown displays. Staff moved quietly, attending to clients booked weeks in advance. Adiz had grown from one wig to a full beauty business: rentals, sales, installations, styling classes, even a modest academy teaching other girls how to start micro-beauty businesses with little capital. She still remembered every dusty step, every hot bus ride. She had started with one cheap synthetic wig. Now, she handled imports of premium human hair, custom-colored units, bridal packages. Her name had crossed Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and into real life. Influencers wore her wigs, brides trusted her, job seekers saved up just to appear in her chair for interview transformation. Success in Lagos rarely feels like fireworks. Sometimes, it feels like one quiet morning when you realize rent is paid, staff are salaried, and your phone is buzzing, not with debt messages, but with bookings and collaborations. On one such morning, Adiz sat at her office desk, a simple white table by the window, Lagos traffic humming faintly outside. She opened her email as usual. Then she saw it. Subject: job application, desperate but hopeful. The sender's name made her breath hitch. Chioma Keke. The same Chioma who had once laughed at her and called her a wig landlord. She clicked the email. The message was long, but every line felt heavy. Chioma wrote about being laid off, about bills piling up, about a sick parent, about scrolling Instagram and realizing that the same wig caretaker she mocked now owned a thriving studio. She ended the email with a line that sat in Adiz's chest like a stone. I know I don't deserve it, but if there is any position at all, even as a cleaner or assistant, please consider me. I am willing to learn. Life has humbled me. Adiz leaned back in her chair, staring at the ceiling. Memories flashed: sweaty Ojota sun, plastic chair in K, nights with no light, hands washing wigs until her fingers wrinkled, insults swallowed in silence. Success had given her many things. Now it was asking her what kind of person she would be with them. She didn't answer the email immediately. She closed her laptop and walked slowly through her studio. One of her junior staff, a timid girl from the mainland, was carefully curling a wig, eyes focused. Another was arranging products on a shelf. Each of them had their own story, their own struggles. She was not just a CEO, she was a custodian of people's bread and hope. She knew that without mercy, her own story could have ended in Ojota. Lagos had taught her harsh lessons, but also soft ones, that doors, once closed on you, can one day belong to you. And when they do, you choose who you open them for. Later that evening, as the studio emptied and the sky turned from blue to that orange Lagos glow, Adiz replied. She didn't rub her success in Chioma's face. She didn't write a long sermon. She kept it simple, professional, and firm. She offered her a junior role, entry level, structured, with training and clear targets. Not as pity, but as an opportunity. The same kind Lagos had never given her, she would give another. Weeks passed. Chioma joined the team quietly, humbled, serious, different. There was no dramatic apology scene, no crying and hugging like in films. Just work. silent understanding. The city itself had already schooled them both. Under Adi's leadership and the systems she had put in place, the business expanded. Online courses sold out. A second smaller branch opened on the mainland. She visited schools and youth events, telling her story, not as a fairy tale, but as a blueprint, how to notice small needs, test small ideas, and turn one wig into many. Her face appeared one day on that Lekki billboard, a smiling woman in a sleek bob, the tagline below. From one wig to 1,000 crowns, wig library beauty. That was the day she cried in the back of a taxi, overwhelmed by the weight of her journey. Not because of the fame, but because she knew how easily she could have given up when the first wig tore, when people laughed, when profits were small, when Lagos felt like it was eating her alive. She understood now. Lagos is a city that hides empires inside small things. One wig, one tray of puff-puff, one camera, one sewing machine, one idea that refuses to die. Somewhere in Ojota, under that same pedestrian bridge, another girl was probably clutching her last 5,000 Nigerian nairas, facing a decision that would either sink her or start her. Adiz prayed silently that she would choose movement over fear. In Lagos, greatness rarely arrives loudly. It starts as something small that others laugh at. But as the elders say, the seed they mock today can grow into the tree that gives them shade tomorrow.